Brexit was the endless saga of the last decade. The referendum was held almost 4.5 years back, and since then, Britain has had 2 general elections and 2 prime ministers. Progress has been slow, but the end is finally here. On Christmas Eve, after all the haggling, the UK and the EU have announced a trade deal. The clock is not ticking anymore. That's how EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described the moment. She said the deal was fair and balanced, and that the UK and the EU would continue to stand shoulder to shoulder when it mattered.
The United Kingdom is a third country, but it remains a trusted partner. We are long-standing allies. We share the same values and interests, whether it be the COP26 summit in Glasgow or the upcoming UK G7 and Italian G20 presidencies. The European Union and the United Kingdom will stand shoulder to shoulder to deliver on our common global goals. Competition in our single market will be fair and remain so. The EU rules and standards will be respected. We have effective tools to react if fair competition is distorted and impacts our trade.
As for Boris Johnson, he feels this is the best deal the UK could have hoped for.
Since that time, we've been getting on with our agenda, enacting the points-based immigration system that you voted for and that will come into force on January the 1st, doing free trade deals with 58 countries around the world, and preparing the new relationship with the EU. And there have been plenty of people who have told us that the challenges of the COVID pandemic have made this work impossible, and that we should extend the transition period and incur yet more delay. And I rejected that approach precisely because beating COVID is our #1 national priority, and I wanted to end any extra uncertainty and to give this country the best possible chance of bouncing back strongly next year.
Many of you are probably wondering, didn't Brexit happen last year? Well, technically it did. On the 31st of December 2019, Britain officially left the European Union. But a lot of details were yet to be agreed upon, chief among them, trade. Britain and the EU had to sign a new trade deal, and they had 11 months to do so. And it came right down to the wire. Without a deal, there would have been a hard Brexit. No more free trade, no more free movement, plus new import tariffs, and that would have hurt consumers. In the end, the talks in fact hinged on fish. You heard that right. The UK and the EU could not agree on fishing rights. Let me explain this. In the European Union, the seas are common good, so all countries can fish in each other's waters. Britain wanted to change this. It wanted to decide who gets to fish in British waters. The middle ground was to have quotas. The EU pushed for a greater share, a demand that Britain would have never accepted. The current deal calls for a phased fishing arrangement. Over the next 5.5 years, the EU is going to gradually reduce fishing. That will leave the UK with around 2/3 of the fishing stock. Now, as this deal gets implemented next year, disputes will be inevitable. So who is going to resolve them? Before Brexit, you see, the European Court of Justice, had this responsibility. But EU courts are run by EU laws that do not apply to Britain anymore. So both sides have agreed on a new system based on international law. The reaction to this deal has been mixed. Remember, the referendum back in 2016 was a close one. Almost 48% of Britons wanted to remain in the European Union, and the years have not changed how they feel about it.
Well, it's better than a no deal, but still all of the disadvantages of leaving the European Union. So it's making the best of a bad job.
I'm really pleased we're getting a deal, and I think it's light at the end of the tunnel. I think we've had a terrible year, and I think it's really good news. Quite honestly, I was afraid of a no deal.
On Financial Street, the news was good. The pound sterling gained against the US dollar. The stock market also cheered the deal. Analysts are hoping that this bit of news will help the markets end the year on a high.
British pound is doing well. The British pound is up about 0.9% versus the US dollar, so it's on a pretty good run. And we're in a very reasonably short distance away. If the pound nudges another small bit higher, another kind of 10 basis points or 10 pips higher, we'll be looking at a new 2.5 year high versus the US dollar. So we are seeing a very generous move in the pound.
Like I said at the start, this has been an endless saga. So is it finally over, or are we in for more drama? In the United Kingdom, the Parliament must approve this new deal. The MPs will be recalled soon. But there's no drama expected, thankfully. Keir Starmer has asked his Labour Party to back the new deal. In the European Union, the deal does not technically need parliamentary approval unless any of the provisions directly mention a member state. But again, this is just a matter of formality. Boris Johnson, remember, came to power promising to get Brexit done. He's finally got something to show for his work, but the transition is not going to be smooth. The long line of truckers at Dover was a glimpse into what a post-Brexit UK could be like. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.